Coming up. I'm Huples Cat and this is Gracie Cat. We're going to go through our third video on this magazine. When it hits, the broadcast becomes special reports. Your neighbours are in motion and the roads are packed with cars on evacuation routes, including back roads. Here's what to expect and how to survive, no matter the location or the situation. Very good. What then follows is 8 pages on tornado survival. These 8 pages are clearly absolutely pointless unless you live in a tornado-prone zone. However, just in case you do, 4 to 9 PM is the danger time. On April 27, 2011, there were 199 tornadoes touched down. Texas has the most per year at 127, but Mississippi has the most per square mile at 12 per year per 10,000 square miles. They then give some science on how they form, then a map of likelihood. If you live in Hawaii, you're not getting much from these 8 pages. They then show you the rankings of different strengths of tornado, which in my opinion is absolutely pointless. Any tornado, no matter the strength of it, can kill you. An EF of 0 can kill you if their circumstances are right, so you should be prepping for an EF of 5. Then they give physics on how cars can fly, then radar and visual spotting of them. Big error here. Where is the picture of the thunderhead so you know what they look like? Relying on electronic devices seems to be a common feature in popular mechanics. We finally get some good advice. Have a barometer on your cell phone and outside the home. If the thunderheads start forming and the barometric pressure starts dropping, it's time to get into a storm shelter. They then have a touching but somewhat pointless tale from Kim Cross. Where is the tip to actually locate storm shelter buildings that you could use in advance during your normal daily commute? They then show decreasing effectiveness of types of shelter, but number 3, if you remember, the ditch. This was literally trashed as safe by their expert earlier on in the magazine. Where's the editor, eh? They claim a mobile home is safer than seated belted in a vehicle under a concrete bridge. I think this is very arguable. Still, if you hear thunder, get under cover. Seeing lightning is a very late sign of danger. Being under a tree is the second worst place. Being in the open is the worst. If you hike or boat, get to a car or home ASAP. If not, stay flat on the ground and 50 feet from each other. They don't suggest that here, but why would you separate? Well, if one of you gets hit, cardiac arrest, the heart stoppage is possible. The other person can run over there and do CPR on you. You might survive. But when they will know it's you've been hit. If you've ever been anywhere near a lightning storm hit, you know how loud it is. Also, what is not suggested here is that everybody, including the young kids, should know and train for CPR. The water section is funny. If you're on a boat, everyone should 1, be able to swim, and 2, wear a life jacket. This is not suggested by popular mechanics. They rightly warn of lake effect snow. They say nothing to deal with it. Strong metal roofs at slope? They're a good idea, I think. Also, during the wintertime, many older men plunge off roofs every year trying to clear the snow, resulting in head injuries, spinal cord injuries, and death. I'll give you a tip. Count the seconds after lightning flash until you hear the thunder, then divide by 5. That is how far away it hit in miles. So 5 seconds delay equals 1 mile. However, 15 seconds is 3 miles. However, 3 miles is the fatal zone. You shouldn't be outdoors with lightning hitting 3 miles away from you. So if you can see lightning and then the thunder is within 15 seconds, you should be in a car or in a house. The section How Not to Die, at least not today, is a good one, and it's a very historic one for popular mechanics. They've often done quite weird ways to die and how to avoid it. However, before we get into this, I'd like to point out that death is inevitable, and the older you are, the more likely you are to die today. Remember that when you get up tomorrow. You're much more likely to die when you get up tomorrow than today. Death is not something you should be frightened of. How you die definitely is. The tip in this section is absolutely moronic. Bear spray stops a bear's charge, but only if you use it correctly and you practice using it. You won't have very long for a predatory bear from sighting it to it hitting you. It will stop all bear attacks dead. Why? It stops their breathing. Very temporary, it won't hurt the bear. What they don't tell you is the can empties extremely fast. You need to be aware of wind and direction. You can't spray it in the air and create a protective zone. It only works sprayed directly into the face of an aggressive bear. An aggressive bear will run away from you. A predatory bear may attack later on. It may track you and then attack again. At no time will you slow a bear down enough for you to run away from the bear if the bear is tracking you. If the bear is tracking you or attacking you, spray all the pepper spray at it you like. It will catch you and it will eat you. Be aware of that. Also, bear attacks are incredibly rare. Driving to the trailhead is more likely to harm or kill you. 3 to 5 people out of 400 million per year die from bear and sharks in North America. This is not a likely risk. Much like wearing a safety belt and obeying the speed limit when you go to the trailhead, you may want to carry bear spray, you may want to make sure it's accessible, you may want to show you've practiced bear spray drills once or twice. It's really unlikely to be needed, best to know how to do it if you do. The ideas they give to avoid both skunk and bear attacks are sort of decent. Kitty and myself mostly hike together, and we always carry bear spray, 1 tin each. After all, if I'm on the ground, she needs to get the spray out of her pack, not off my pack, and vice versa. Again, really unlikely. Windstorms, lightning, drowning, car accidents are the real threats to us. I found the section on boat docks electrocuting people is not something I'd actually thought about before. But from now on, I'm swimming only off non-powered docks, so thank you very much, Popular Mechanics. Now, vending machine deaths are unlikely, but in most cases you should actually avoid using them, for what they contain, both drinks and food, is actually poisonous to human health. So why using it anyway? And if you do use it and it gets stuck or you don't get your money out of it, just give up on it. Don't tilt the thing. It can fall and it will crush you. In my opinion, ATVs should be banned. This is nothing more than motorcycles for fat people to drive around in. Really hate them. The stupid, noisy, stinky things not helping with climate change at all. Of course, if you have a farm, an actual farm, not a pretend one, they're probably a good idea. They state that in 2011, over 300 people died in ATV wrecks. Yeah, I imagine they do. I've seen people drive drunk more than once in my local area. I've seen parents who let their young and older children drive them on their own. Do not drive them on pavement, fast or drunk, or at night. Now, I used to tell people drown in low dams, and some of the videos online are absolutely fascinating for this. They look safe, they're not. Stay away from all dams. If you get pulled under, don't panic and swim underwater away from the dam. 95 Americans die each year from riding mowers. Apparently no Canadians die. Now, I use a push mower. It's actually rechargeable electric. But I see idiots in the suburbs using riding mowers all the time on their tiny patch of land. In more ways than one, this is not a good move. If you have a small patch of grass, use a manual mower. Your body will thank you for the exercise. Drowning kills 10 Americans a day, apparently. I bet it doesn't in January. They state the do not hyperventilate before diving underwater rule, and that's a good one. I've actually tried that myself recently in a swimming pool, and it works. If you hyperventilate, you can't stay under as long, and it's a bit more frightening. Again, you should be a strong swimmer, and you should also be close to other people who are actually keeping an eye out for you, and vice versa. I imagine it's from the same statistic, but over 100 Americans drown each year in riptides. Now again, there's some great videos on YouTube for this. Treat crossing all watercourses very carefully. Recently, a Norwegian died 5 kilometers from the end of a 300-kilometer trip up North Canada.
The body of the Norwegian hiker who went missing in the Manitoba wilderness has been found. 29-year-old Stefan Skotovic was declared missing August the 14th when his dog arrived at his final destination without him. The RCMP say his remains were discovered during a ground search not far from where his jacket was found last Friday.
Unhitching the pack is good. Better yet, a waterproof pack. Leave it behind you, tie some rope, ford the thing, and then pull it across. Now on page 66, we actually get something useful. Map and compass use. They're going to tell us how to navigate with a map and compass. Now, I always suggest you need more than this little paragraph, but something's better than nothing. The average hiker goes about 2 miles per hour, the best at 5 miles per hour. Now, this works out to be in kilometres, 3 kilometres and 8 kilometres per hour. Kitty and myself, our average is 5.5 kilometres per hour on road. Knowing your average speed on different terrains is absolutely critical. Knowing this information allows you to estimate your time to landmarks and check if you're actually on pace or if you're actually where you're supposed to be is a good one. When you learn your pace or distance likely travelled on various terrains, it's a skill that will stay with you forever. The 4 points they give are good and if practiced often would help. There is much more to this obviously, but as a fast tip I like this. But remember, the easiest and fastest and safest route is usually never going to be a straight line. Wow, now we have learned map and compass use in a few sentences, let's survive another rare killer. Baseball! In 15 years, baseball killed 224 people. 50% were playing it and 50% watching it. Most of the deaths were men. Of course, the advice should be to go know any of the game. It's optional. If you're nowhere near a baseball game, you probably won't die in one. What they don't really talk about is personal protective equipment. Be healthy, be hydrated, and do weight training year round. This prevents sudden cardiac death, which happens during baseball and anything else where your heart has to beat. And know and be near people who can do CPR. Of course, I'll point out here, as a trained nurse, that CPR is mostly utterly useless for commotion cordis. And being near and knowing how to use an AED is better advice. You'll see lots of AEDs around the place. If you've been online and looked at a few videos and seen how to use one, it's always a good idea to be prepared before an event. Another irritant here for me, the tip. Blood pressure near 150/90. No, that's hypertension. Blood pressure near 120/80 should be the aim. The last 4 pages are various ways people die in America and how to avoid it. They do not mention inactivity, smoking, obesity, or not eating a vegan diet as the major causes of death. Now apparently over 70 people die falling off ladders and scaffolds a year. Try and do 3 points of contact and use safety gear. Hypothermia kills 1,000 a year. So stay warm and dry, do not wear cotton. As an aside, anyone doing anything on YouTube or anywhere talking about outdoor survival or prepping that's wearing jeans should not be watched. Now you can stuff your trousers with leaves if you get cold. They don't mention ticks. That's a bit of a problem. What I would say is always wear and have good outdoor clothing on. I suspect that the most who actually are dying from this are people in poverty, especially seniors who live alone and are unable to pay for decent heating costs. That of course is not mentioned. Now 100 hunters plunger out of tree stands per year in North America, about the same as die shooting themselves or their fellow hunters. Again, it says a lot about hunting, doesn't it? Cliffing out. This is actually true. This has actually happened to me. Now falls are one of the top 3 wilderness killers. If you're hiking and it gets steep, think and go down rather than upwards. That's very hard to do though, psychologically. Many continue to go upwards and it gets more and more difficult, and eventually they find they can't actually continue to climb. But then they find they can't go back. Apparently this is 11% of rescue call-outs in Yosemite. Now that of course is an American park where people like to pose and take photographs with bison and dip their hands and feet into hot boiling water. Use generators safely. They say keep these 20 feet from the home. Now don't drink too much is kind of really funny. While alcohol is known to be a mega killer in various ways in North America, in fact around the world, what popping mechanics means here is drinking too much water and not enough electrolytes. This can cause exercise-associated hyponatremia, EAH. This, by the way, is incredibly rare. Drunk driving is very, very common, so they're actually going to focus on EAH. If you do any endurance activity in heat, be trained and use electrolyte fluids, monitor sweating, etc. If untrained, do not exercise until you have built up training for this. Let leaning trees stand. I totally and absolutely agree with this. It's a shame Popular Mechanics told me to cut a leaning one on page 40, which again would be incredibly dumb and dangerous to do. In 2012, 32 people died cutting down trees. However, I bet you more became paraplegics. It is dangerous. Don't slip and slide away. This kills 1 to 2 people a year. Don't hike on ice without professional gear and training. So rather than focus on people going across crevasses and ice, why don't you look at hiking and the cliffs, which kills far more people, and in 2025 I bet killed more content creators while they were filming than died on crevasse ice. Beat the heat. 675 die each year from heat complications. That's on the rise. Most seniors are homeless without AC. Most actually don't have nearby friends or family or are socially isolated for whatever reason. A tiny number of these are hikers in deserts. I do have to wonder if artificial intelligence wrote this. Quote, do carry lots of fluids, hike in the morning and let people know where you are going when trekking in the desert that's under tension. Anyhow, carry water, electrolytes, cover all skin and head with light coloured clothing. Do not get lost and avoid hiking out of sight of the car in savage conditions. Unless you are trained, have water in the car. Well, there you go. We survived when it hits, little kitty. Yeah, we survived. Thanks for watching. The next video, and the last in this fantastically interesting series, is actually going to be lessons learned. And again, I'm not giving too much away to say Popular Mechanics is kind of not the best thing to get the advice for this sort of stuff from. My channel is, but again, more people read Popular Mechanics and watch my channel, and that will probably stay that way for the foreseeable future. Doodles. This has been a Fat Cat 2025 production. No cats were fed during this production.